Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, he's back. He's been away. He's been snowboarding. He got the shits, but he's all better.
You really did.
And he's here to join in with Empire of Geek.
It's alive! Show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Welcome back, Andy, to the show. Nice to have you here again.
Thanks, Steve. And
We
thanks
missed
for that very candid introduction.
I think people want to know, did you have a good holiday?
I did have a good holiday, yes, thank you.
You can tell us a bit more about your shitting problems in a few moments.
Shitting problems?
I'd rather not.
The man they call Raoul, the man who calls himself Raoul. How have you been, Raoul? How's the dieting going? As we all know from last week's...
It's not a diet.
It's
a fitness regime.
His fitness regime. Lost 8 pounds, didn't you, last week?
I'm now to
That was the biggest shit he'd had all year.
It was painful. Now I'm up to a stone and a bit.
A stone and a bit, ladies and
Stone
gents.
and a bit. That is about £17 for the Americans. If we have any Americans.
We might do. We've got... The viewing figures have been going up.
Really?
I did notice, though, that...
Astronomically?
Well, it depends quite how far away
What your
space is.
definition
Yeah. I'd say we're a couple of metres off the ground, but we're getting there. It's a slow build. If I was going to liken this to any particular space launch, possibly the Challenger, that's what it would be. It's in the past now, no. And also I'm joined by Andy, who also lost £8 last week because, as I mentioned at the start of the show, you went snowboarding. I didn't mention you went snowboarding, but you went snowboarding.
I did.
You came back and you ate something dodgy and gave yourself the shits.
Yeah, I went on the food poisoning diet as opposed to Rob's fitness plan.
Regime!
Regime.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. So, was this just yesterday that you had these explosive diarrhea eruptions?
It was Saturday, so 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
I was sick as well. It wasn't just...
But let's focus on the main point. Yeah, and you got that from where? Because we can name them, shame them.
It was a well-known chicken franchise.
Yeah.
Can I name them?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, well, they poisoned you for
Well,
fake.
yeah.
Yeah, but hang on, you've got to prove, you have to have the proof. Like, we need a sample of your stool
I
that
ate
we can
the
send to the
proof.
lab.
Yeah.
I know, but if you name them, we've got to actually have, like, the feces, and we've got to be able to track it back.
Right, Rob, hold that jar. Ralph.
Ralph.
When did you name them? Just say it was a well-known Southern Fried
A well-known,
chicken.
yeah.
They had a guy who had a military rank.
Yes.
Who was known as their sort of...
Because you famously loved this place, didn't you? Prior to
I did.
you dropping all the weight.
I feel like I've been betrayed.
Yeah.
Horrendously.
Can't find the chicken.
Can't find the chicken.
Yeah.
Well, I ate the chicken.
Yeah, he shat it out, didn't he?
No, the place is called Can't Find the Chicken.
There.
What? Have you invented your own?
Can't find the chicken. Think
We
about
don't
it.
know.
Can't spell
There,
with a
there you go, listeners.
Hey.
Think about it.
Oh yeah. C can't doesn't begin with a K, does
What
it?
about
Yeah.
the?
Yeah.
Apart from that,
Other than that, it was spot on. Spot on. So there we go. There's some hidden content for you, an Easter egg for anyone who's listening. I was busy. We didn't record yesterday. Normally we like to record on a Sunday, don't we? But we didn't record because I was at a wedding yesterday. Do you want the chocolates, Rob?
No.
what's that?
The problem with you quietly signalling is that, yes, my girlfriend won't know, but we all know, and I'm going to tell everybody.
Would you like one of these, Rob?
Oh, he's not allowed. He's not allowed them.
Would you?
Rob, as we know on the first episode, we had a tin of chocolates, and Rob ate them all.
The very first
Particularly
episode.
the Malteser ones.
The very first, particularly the Malteser ones.
Like this one right
So
here.
what he's done, dear listeners, he has brought us some, and now he's going to eat them all in front of us.
No, I'm not. It's just one Malteser won't hurt.
For the want of a Malteser, the battle was lost, and this is the battle of the bulge.
It's all right.
He's after your Maltesers again.
I'm not going to touch him.
Didn't touch them.
Anyway.
I'm tempting him. I'm teaching him, restraint.
Carrot and stick, isn't it?
Yes.
Or
But with
torture.
Maltese.
So,
But with Maltese on the end.
Andy, how did your holiday go?
It was good, thanks.
Did you hock some major loogies on the slopes? Is that the name of a move?
Yeah. Hit the ballpark a bit. That was pretty cool. So I went on the easy park mainly.
The kids.
The pro park is terrifying me.
With the kids.
Sorry.
Were you like doing Jimmy Savile?
I think Jimmy Savile wasn't famous for his
I
snowboarding
wasn't
antics.
nonce in the slopes.
It was abuse, Rob, that he was. Said it was a good time. Good time was had by all.
Yeah, it's nice. The Alps are always nice.
Did you get your mandatory photo of you performing some kind of air manoeuvre that you could then put on?
I did,
Facebook?
yeah. Then I can claim to be really cool at, and lead a bit of a charlatan's lifestyle, really, and pretend I'm an ace snowboarder for the muggles back here.
Well, I was just about to say that we didn't record yesterday because we went to a wedding. It was one of my girlfriend's friends, and we had a good time, didn't we? We had a good time at the wedding. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. There was a few moments at the wedding though where
Lots of laughs.
there was hoots aplenty. I've got this thing
Do
about
tell.
I don't like this. Wasn't particularly laugh. This was just more me
Alright.
a bit weird. Do you know at like New Year's Eve and stuff? When it gets to midnight and if you're around old women, they want to kind of kiss your face.
Do they?
Or just your family don't, Rob. But then the way you look, I can understand. Your mum told me once you used to have to hang a pork chop round your neck just to get the family dog to play with you. But
We didn't have a dog.
I wasn't keen.
It's a joke.
It's a joke, Rob. It never happened. I'm not keen on it being at things where you're socially forced into kind of kissing people in like kissing cheeks and rubbish where you kiss both cheeks. Anyway, they'd done all the service and all that, and then we were going to walk out. And I thought, so far, I've not had to socially interact with anyone, which is good because I'm just going to get uncomfortable if it comes to any kind of physical stranger on stranger face
Action.
kissing. And then they formed a line, and we had to walk up. And when they have the bride and groom, and they have their parents, and they shake hands with you. And I was watching and thought, they're going to start kissing each other's faces. And I'm just not comfortable with strangers
You
too
had
close
to
to me.
kiss Stabby's mum.
Well, everyone else did, but I got up, and I always do that. I go up, and the guy's there, and also what bothered me was, as they went up, everyone in front of me, they were like, "Oh, who are you then?" And they went, "Oh, I'm a friend of his from university," or "Oh, I used to work with her." And I was thinking, I can't just say I'm one of bridesmaids' boyfriends. So I went up and I was racking my brain what to say, and this guy, I think it was the father of the groom, goes, "Hello, who are you?" And I shook hands with him, and I just went, "Hanger on," and his face was, he went, "Oh, hang on." I went, "Yeah, but it's been a nice wedding so far." And I went past him, and his wife was there, and as she went to lean in, I just brought my hand up and put my kind of handshake hand pointing towards her face so that she couldn't actually, she couldn't get in for a kiss.
Give you a smooch.
Yeah, and so I did that all the way
Right.
along the line because it's just uncomfortable. But a lot of them were moving in quite
I
rapidly.
did notice that in France, when obviously men and women greet each other, it's always the old double kiss.
I don't like it. I'm
But
very
it's like I was in the pub with two of my Greek mates, and at the end of the evening, they just got up, they kissed each other on both cheeks, and walked off.
Yeah.
And everyone
Very continental.
It is
isn't
very
it?
continental, and for the vast majority of
The
people in the pub,
sort of
it
British
looked a
person.
little bit odd. It looked a little bit odd.
Well,
But it's just normal.
I don't like it. It's too foreign. We didn't win 2 world wars on kissing each other on the cheeks.
No.
If there'd have been a little bit less of that, they'd have held France, wouldn't they, the French?
Yeah.
Instead of conspiring with the Nazis.
Yeah. Those cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
So there's all our French
French
listeners
listeners
gone.
gone. Yeah.
Sorry to our French listeners.
Sorry. I've noticed, looking at our viewing statistics, we are one behind a church.
A church?
It's like Pastor Dave, and he records his. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Washingford parish church.
So
or whatever.
how many numbers? What are the numbers?
Well, the problem is that when I put one of
Just
these
the
up,
nearest 1,000.
when I put these up, we zoom up
Zero.
about 3,000. Although that'll
3,000.
Well, on the this is on Podomatic.
Really? We've got 3,000 listeners?
No.
Hold your horses.
I was going to say that's substantial. What, like
3.
Well, no, like on the day we put them out, it only tells me downloads. So on a day when we don't put it out, we get around about, so far, we get about 25 downloads. On the day we put it out, it goes up
as
to
much as that?
above
Really?
50 odd. Yeah.
So we've got out there somewhere. There are 50 people.
Well, no, there's probably
What?
5 Frenchmen who've just switched off. Zut
But it's
alors.
like, I don't ever listen to it. So
Sucked
do you listen to it?
Of course you don't. You know what we said.
I don't actually know.
I listen to it because I have to, because you say a load of stuff which I have to then edit out.
Yeah.
You bitch and moan, so you can't keep that in.
Yeah.
That thing with those prostitutes last week, that was disgusting. How can you do that?
I know.
I had to cut that out, listeners. It was revolting. The thing is, you can
it
go.
goes against my
her name was
freedom
Tallulah.
of expression.
The thing is, I thought you could go blind from that kind of play, but apparently not. You're disgusting.
And you can go dumb as well. And deaf.
Well, it's just.
It's just depraved, really.
And that guinea pig, you are sick.
Guinea pig. I thought it was a gerbil.
Well, didn't you tell me that you couldn't tell because you turned it inside out? But I don't want to talk about it. See, that all has to get edited out now, you sicko. So yeah, it was good, the wedding was, but I've managed to pick up an injury talking about your training regime.
Is this another arse injury?
Yes, the bride fisted me. No, of course not. We they had a Kaylee type thing, which is, Scottish dance nonsense.
I thought it was like, oh yeah. I was
bit of
going
a
to
jig.
Yeah.
It was fun. It looked good.
It was fun. And at the time, it was a hoot. I only went up once, and they did this. There's a lot of holding hands. Again, not cool with holding hands with
Especially with
strangers.
men. With
Yeah,
men.
with men
Oh.
particularly. And then you were dancing in and out. You were winding in and out. And at the time, I felt fine. But this morning, I woke up, felt fine. I was at work today, and it felt like someone had fired a spear straight through my right chest muscle, all the way back. I could feel pain all
Not your
there.
left.
Not where my heart is.
I was going to say.
It was in my right, and if I moved, like I was driving home, I was in agony. Left turns, no problem. Right turns, absolute agony. So I think what I've done is, the holding hands and the fact we were going round people, because it was quite a big guy I was holding the hand of, I think I must have pulled some kind of muscle in my chest or something. Bloody hell, it kills. It's horrible. But yeah, so painful.
So some big guy pulled you.
We were holding hands,
Right.
and we were dancing around together.
And he pulled you.
I was holding hands with another man on the other side.
There you are. So
It was like a big daisy chain of men. So we were skipping around, and yeah, I think I must have pulled my my muscle, but it really hurts. You got any stories, Rob, about when you've injured stuff with men? I can tell a story if you want. Do you remember when we went to train with John Skillen?
Oh, shut up about that. That was ridiculous.
I think the viewers would like to listen to that one.
Do tell.
Oh, it's not that big a deal. I just ended up in a tyre.
You got stuck in a tyre. Was it a tractor tyre as well?
Like a tractor
classic
tyre.
comedy.
Yeah. There was this big bloke, and he was just knocking the shit out of me.
He wasn't a big bloke, he was a small guy.
No, it wasn't.
I'd actually said to people, watch the big guy over there.
Well, he might have been a small guy, but he punched like a big guy.
It was a woman, as I recall, wasn't it?
Probably. Anyway.
She had one arm.
I'm probably blind. Anyway, so they're basically, this person, whoever they may be, is batting the shit out of me, holding this punch bag pad thing, hitting it with such force that it's absolutely just not working at all. It's not. Like, honestly, like, just hitting me with such force, I'm like feeling the pain right through it.
You were literally like lifted off your feet.
She kept knocking me back, or he, for that matter, whoever it was.
What happened was, it was a game, and what it was, you had to run up, and then there was someone blocking you, trying to stop you get to the other person, and they were holding pads. Rob was the guy, Ralph was the guy with the pads on, and so they're running up, and there's someone in front of them trying to stop them. They were punching your pads, and you're not all that keen. I admit that, I can understand, because I punched you in the head that day. You know, when you were doing some kind of pad work with Stabby, and and then you dropped to the floor, and then I started laughing, and I was doing pad work with someone else, and I missed the pad and punched him in the side of the head.
What, Rob?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Did he go down?
He'd already gone down. He'd gone down to one knee.
Well, then he took
I
an
turned
arm.
and saw it, and I was still throwing punches. started laughing, missed the pad, and then just cracked Rob in the side of the head. But we're playing this game, and you backed up to the wall and then started sliding along the wall to the right.
To try and avoid the punches.
Didn't see the massive tyre, fell in it and got stuck. But I'd said to him, I went, watch that guy. He will do something brilliant, and you did. Right, it's cool. Anyway, let's talk about that. Should we get on with the show? Right, the first thing I want to talk about is last week we spoke about In the Flesh being cancelled. Another BBC show has been cancelled, been announced this week, and it's Atlantis. Did anyone watch Atlantis?
Yeah, but I gave up watching it.
It's really crap, wasn't it?
It was really poor, really poor.
I just didn't... It had Mark Addy, who was obviously the king in Game of Thrones when it first started, so I thought it was going to be cool. It just felt weak-sauced, didn't it?
Yeah.
They need to go a little bit... It's a little bit darker with stuff. Do you not think? Stuff like that I don't think plays amazingly well nowadays. We're used to... in a world where we have Game of Thrones, admittedly it's not for kids, but you're going to show something, I think you need to take a little bit of that gritty, kind of more realistic edge to it. I found it a bit pants.
I did too. I don't know. I just didn't get on board with any characters. I didn't believe in any of it. I just thought.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. None of the characters really grabbed me either. When it finishes, it's got a few more episodes to play. It's in its second season, and it will eventually be of 26 episodes. So I'm sure they'll bring out 2 box sets.
They're going to just wrap it up, are they?
Yeah, they're going to finish off with these last 7 episodes. But yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of it. It was a bit... It just didn't do anything for me, nothing to it. Things need to be a bit edgier. Talking of new shows, we just literally, before this started, we watched Cockroaches, which is a new ITV show set in a post-apocalyptic Britain. What did you all think of it? We'll start with Andy, because you've not said much.
Yeah, I thought it was rather humorous. So it's a good element, isn't it? I mean, Jack Whitehall always brings a funny side to it. I don't know who the other protagonist was, that black guy, but he's quite good.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. So I shall explain the basic plot line to it. Starts off in present day, I suppose, and there's a girl and a boy. She's called Suze, he's called Tom, and in this basement of her mum and dad's house, and they're dancing around. It's suddenly announced on the TV that there's nuclear missiles are inbound. So he admits he's always loved her, and then they get jiggy, don't they? Her mum and dad come home, and that's when the nuclear bombs land. The intro sequence starts, and I thought the intro sequence was quite cool, the way it kind of told the story. It's a little bit like those safety kind of leaflet things you get in aeroplanes. So that little animation thing went on, and then it starts off 10 years later, where you see them with their daughter. And it stars Jack Whitehall as their ex-boyfriend of Suze in it. But yeah, it was quite good. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, because ITV has done some bad comedies in its time, hasn't it?
I'm always dubious about ITV.
I thought it was very BBC Three.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had that kind of BBC Three new comedy vibe about it. So
yeah.
It did, and it obviously taken a lot from The Walking Dead, but I liked that. I thought it was funny. It was a hoot. You're playing your own theme songs. That's one thing I didn't do. Sorry, I know we've gone into TV, but I was thinking, and I will eventually. I was going to use the keyboard on my iPad to do a little jingle for it, but I was going to do Rob's fitness tip of the week for geeks, because obviously you're a man of muscle and iron.
Iron, yeah.
What would be your number one move this week that you would say if you're going to give geeks like yourself, who are trying to get back into shape?
So drink more water.
Drink more water. There we go.
And get to bed at a decent time. Don't stay up to like 4 a.m. programming like I used to.
Oh, and of course, as we all know from before we started, Rob is you're at your program in Zenith at the moment, aren't you?
I just don't know what's happening. It's like I just put my fingers on the keyboard
and then pornography appears. And that's his defence. Honestly, my lord.
Your Honour.
No. I just put my fingers on the keyboard. I don't have to think.
It just popped up.
I don't have to think. And the code, right? My programming. It's just happening.
It is.
It's just happening. It's just like I just start typing, and
it's almost instinct. Those impulses.
You're like the lawnmower man.
I am programming with instinct. Yeah.
You can't teach that.
No, you can't. You just.
You're born with it, aren't you?
Yeah.
It did take me 2 hours to get MongoDB set up, though. You don't
Right.
know what MongoDB is, so...
It's a database,
Yeah.
It is, yeah. How do you know that?
because you've talked about it before.
Oh, right.
You talk about all your secret ideas. You go, don't tell anyone, dude, but bit of a top secret idea. And you tell us, and then we'll meet someone else, and they'll go, oh, you know, Rob, has he told you about his top secret idea? Yeah, he has. Do you have any actual secret ideas
Quite a few.
that you've not told people?
Maybe the ones I divulge, because I've got lots I haven't divulged, maybe the ones I divulge are there to throw you off the scent of the ones...
Because obviously we're all investigating you.
Well, you did.
No, I just wanted to find out some stuff about where you...
A few years ago,
Some
you were
personal
stalking
facts.
my dad.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Uh,
But that was for the lols. That wasn't for any... I just wanted to see how much I could find out about your dad. I changed my Twitter picture to your dad as well. Started tweeting you.
It did wind me up.
hey, son.
It did wind me up.
I must admit, I did feel that. I did sense that from your reaction.
Did that,
So-
did
I
that
was-
speak
Dude,
on
get my dad off your
to
Twitter.
great trolling?
I was getting quite angry. Never mind those pads and the tractor tyre.
Yeah.
You know, the rage cage.
Right, other than...
Red mist.
You did. You're just giving this. Do I have to edit that out?
Oh,
Yeah,
you
you
could
do.
have to,
You
aren't
do.
you?
Oh.
Oh, I can't.
Oh.
The Rob.
Just so everyone knows, he said his second name. Oh.
Just edit that out, because seriously, I'm the managing director of a company that will
Just
be,
giving more information away
that
now.
will be successful one day, so...
Thanks. You're the worst for it. The amount of stuff you give away about yourself,
Yeah.
and then I have to.
You encourage me into it. You like
What?
send me down. You know.
How did I encourage you into it?
You talking about yourself quite candidly, and then
Yeah, you always do.
And then I just get relaxed, and then you hit me with it. So
And then you divulge stuff.
it's your fault.
I don't know. Anyway, let's get back on with the actual show rather than finding stuff about Rob's being a.
What?
Oh, sorry. I'll edit that out as well. So.
Fucking hell.
Well, to be honest, I've got to edit it now, and so I've got to put beeps in. So
Right? Can I say some horrendous stuff about Rob?
go on then.
I'm joking.
Anyway, we'll stop talking about that and Rob's interests in.
That isn't even funny.
Slightly.
Anyway,
People might take the wrong end of the stick.
what is there a right end of the stick to take with something like that?
Well, they might think you're being serious.
I am. I'm only joking.
I have never
You really feel the need to say
Yeah.
that?
Well, you're that lady, that person you know.
Oh, gee, don't talk
Yeah,
about stuff
yeah.
about me. Right.
Anyway,
Right.
yeah.
New section.
I'm going to take that bit that you just said and use that as the intro. So before the show even starts, it'll just be that little statement, and then the show starts.
What's that?
I'm not going to repeat it again
I
because I'll have
have.
to. Right. Anyway.
Welcome to.
So Cockroaches, the second episode's already out now. They did an interesting thing with Cockroaches in that they put it on the internet to view before they actually showed it on ITV2, which is a little bit different. And I wonder if that's a way of building an audience. They see it that way.
Well, interestingly enough, BBC Three is touted as going online only, and apparently some people inside ITV see that as a bit of a threat.
Yeah.
So it could well be they're trying. There is a battle, I think. Plus, as well, to distribute online is far cheaper than over the terrestrial airwaves.
Oh, definitely. Also, think about it. Say they make this big hoo-ha about something like In the Flesh going, which gets them a lot of attention. They go fully digital, and then they bring it back on a digital thing. That would be a good thing. There'll be a real clamour for people to want to watch it. Then.
You mean like an on-demand online thing, as opposed to, because digital is what we've got now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it could be quite interesting.
Well, it is interesting because the statistics, the data they get from not only from an advertiser's point of view, but just from a demographic point of view, by putting stuff online where it's fully accountable, fully measurable, it's like gold dust for them. So they'll use all that data to decide what they want to make. Now, it could well be that we end up with loads of crap because the masses like crap, I don't know. Or it could be we end up with loads of really, really good stuff. But it'd be interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. But I want to talk about some new shows that are coming up, because we started this last week and Andy was off snowboarding, doing all that
Yeah.
garbage. Well, one show is called Alt. It's going to be a new E4 comedy, and it sounds a little bit like it might be a bit misfitsy, crossed with Sliders. In that, this is from E4's little blurb. There are thousands of worlds out there, all with a version of you and a version of me, and someone is trying to kill us, all of us. And so it's going to be this comedy TV show which follows this guy called Danny, who's about to move in with his girlfriend called Susie, and also his stoner best mate called Milo. And then they find themselves transported to these parallel universes where they meet all these different versions of themselves. And then they also realise that there's assassins that have been sent out to kill them all. So it's all about them trying to get back home.
Is that the one with that film Submarine? Was it Submarine that had that Welsh kid in it?
Battleship Potemkin, no. Das Boot.
And he was also in...
Das Boot.
no.
Hunt for Red October.
He was this little Welsh lad, I've forgotten his name. But he was in Being Human as well. And he played...
Crimson Tide.
He was like 14 years old, but he played like a 40-year-old vampire or something.
I know you're on about. I don't know his name though. The thing
I'm
is,
gonna Google him.
with someone like that, because he's Welsh, I tend to just disregard him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hate the Welsh.
So yeah, not much. They announced it, and then not much has been seen about it. But apparently, it's going to contain swords, guns, doubles, corpses, bickering, bitterness, broken friendships, love, drugs, sex, and quantum physics. So that sounds quite
Quite a
interesting.
combination.
Interestingly enough, I might have a new co-host coming on to join us, who is an actual doctor.
Do tell.
Yeah, you met my German doctor friend,
Which one's that? Oh, why is he doing
Klaus von Steiner.
Yeah, what's he doing? Teaching in a school?
Well, he's living in Brazil now, obviously, because the Mossad are after him for those
What did you
tests.
say his surname was? Mengele.
Yeah.
No, this guy is a genius. He's a physicist.
You've met his kid?
I've not met his children.
That
no.
six-armed oh my god.
Fucking hell.
And that was
You
when
got
the
this
show
Holocaust Memorial Day today.
Oh, fecking hell.
You got to beat that, all of that. In fact, you just got to
Is it
cut.
really?
Yeah, it's on the news.
Oh, I want to make a full apology now.
What was this?
Is it genuinely Holocaust Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Oh, what a time.
It's January, isn't
In
it?
fact, you should never really make
It's Australia
jokes.
Day.
You should never make jokes about the Holocaust, really.
Well, I'm sure it's there somewhat.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like one of those areas that it's like you just don't go there.
There's not many laughs in the Holocaust, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There's a film called, I think it's The Clown or something with, part of me thinks keep that in, but another part of me goes, oh
edgy.
no, it's edgy. It's what we are, we're edgy.
It's not edgy.
Yeah, but it's on the borders of
it's
decency.
borderline, like, your mother ain't going to love you anymore. Actually, your mother probably would, but...
Oh, what do you mean by that? My dad listened to this, incidentally.
No, not like you're...
Insulting my mum.
No, what I mean is...
Oh,
what
turn
I mean
on his
is,
family now.
What
Yeah.
I mean, hang on, let me...
What a swine.
What I actually meant by that was, you can get away with saying some pretty outrageous things and your mum would still love you. Whereas, if I was to say some pretty outrageous things, my mother probably wouldn't.
Does your mum tune into this?
No.
Right.
Don't you dare email her.
But I've tweeted her about it. But it sounds like it's going to be quite interesting. Looking forward to that. Something else I want to talk about was a new show that's coming up called The Living and the Dead. It's going to be a new 6-part series written by Ashley Farrow and Matthew, that's the dog, and Matthew Graham, what I'm talking about, who were the co-creators of Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes. It's going to be a BBC Wales drama. Don't let that put you off, though.
BBC Wales.
I know they do Doctor Who and they do. Well, yeah, they're the creative
stuff.
hub, aren't they?
The motherland, greatest nation on earth.
It's not a nation, though, is it?
It is a
It's
nation.
not even a country.
It's like
Well, it is.
It's a
It is.
principality.
I remember at
It's not a
school-
country.
No, it is actually.
It's not a country.
It is.
It's not a country.
It wasn't for a while, but it is now.
It's not recognised as a country.
It is.
No,
It's not.
it's not legitimate.
England's not recognised as a country. The United Kingdom is.
No, I thought that as well.
Wales
like
is not a
co-entities.
country.
I thought that as well.
And you did because it's right. That's why you thought it. Wales is just a principality, conquered people.
No, Wales is no longer a principality. I remember that because I got in trouble at school because I had this teacher who was a Welsh nationalist, and I wrote.
Am I going to have to bleep all this story?
And I wrote in a
I am,
paper
aren't
about the Principality of Wales. And I remember she dragged me up in front and said, how dare you call us a principality, we're a country, and she got everyone in the class to gang up on me. I spoke to my dad about it.
Did they beat you?
No, they didn't, but I remember the headmaster,
Did they run you out of town?
this kid, and I won't mention his name because he got hit by a bus when he was 22.
Well, he won't be listening then, will he?
Well, yeah, but he was killed by a bus. Anyway, he got to the
This
real
is a
hump.
train wreck, this episode, isn't it?
He was angry, like furious, because
After the bus, so would I.
No, this was years ago. This was like
The
when we were
first
like
time a
14,
bus is on
15.
time.
So he started beating me around the head with this chair because I said that Wales was a
Oh
principality.
my word. How many people have hit you with chairs? Do I have to beat that now?
No, he's dead. Doesn't matter. No one can come after him. So he started like hitting me around the head with this chair because I said Wales was a principality. The headmaster came in and he saw this going on. And when I said, he's beating me round the head because I thought Wales was a principality, he said, I don't care, you're all so-and-sos. And he sent me out and I had to spend the whole lunch break outside as a way of segregating me from him while he's got to sit indoors in nice warm weather.
Can I just...
Wow, that is quite a tale.
Can I just
warm
go over the main points of that? You said something the teacher disagreed with, so she got the whole class to gang up on you.
Yeah.
A boy began beating you around the head with a chair.
No, this was on lunch break when the teacher wasn't there. He started beating me around the head when the teacher wasn't there.
So you were beaten round the head with a chair.
Yes.
The headmaster comes in.
Yes.
And makes you stand outside.
He makes me
on
stand
your own.
outside and him staying there as a way of segregating us because he didn't want to pick any sides.
And you'd been hit with a chair.
Yeah, he was a dick. Thing is,
Well,
his
yeah.
wife. Thing is, he moved on after a while because he was.
What kind of chair? Was this like a fold-up chair?
It was just like a normal school chair.
A wooden chair?
No,
That is
just
some
like one of those
serious damage,
plastic ones with the metal legs.
And do they fold up?
No, it doesn't fold up. No,
But that still hurt if you got...
it did hurt. It did
Well,
bloody hurt. So,
Wait, what was your school like?
oh, it was rough.
Was
as
it the
anything.
WWF school?
It was rough.
Hardcore.
It was rough.
Yeah.
School of Hard Knocks.
Did you land on any pasting tables?
Yeah.
Or, any sort of turnbuckles get hit?
It's a
ring
ladder
bells?
match.
Yeah. So anyway, I hate school.
Well,
Well, there we go. There's another tale of abuse.
is that what you told the child psychologist?
I haven't seen a psychologist. Why do we need to see a psychologist?
Can I just say that although the listeners can't hear this, I have a feeling that my girlfriend's not happy with me, and I have another feeling that she might have seen something I've written in a message to one of her friends. I know you don't want your voice to peel on this, but can you just nod to me if that is true?
No, I saw that ages ago.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, was it?
You.
I was just wondering, your mum comes to my baby shower.
This is all on.
Do you think she'd be offended with the game of spin the sperm on the egg? Or do you think
Nah,
she'd
she'd be cool with that.
Andy,
spin the dummy on the baby's better?
Whatever. My mum's cool. She's down with all this stuff.
Rob wants these.
just
Yeah.
the one.
Do you think she'll mind spinning the sperm?
Shall we have this conversation after the show?
Yeah, but I'm planning it now.
But we're in the middle of a show. No.
I like your...
High pitched, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be cool with that. So anyway, this new show's coming out, and it sounds like it's going to be really cool. It's set in England in 1888, and it's all about a guy who is a reluctant gentleman farmer who's obsessed with providing evidence of the afterlife. And it's apparently going to be really, really scary. There's going to be lots of stuff in it as this guy goes around investigating stuff. And things to do with the occult start to threaten his family, his livelihood, and even his sanity. So it's going to be steeped in history. It's going to use actual British mythology, and it's going to be kind of twisted in with fantasy settings. Charlotte Moore, controller of BBC One, said, "From the creators of Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes come exciting new fantasy series, The Living and the Dead, steeped in real history and mythology that will scare the audience and awaken the dead." So
And it's on BBC One.
apparently this will be
Wow.
on BBC One. It sounds like it's going to be cool.
Mm.
I was a massive fan of Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes. Did any of you lot like it?
I loved it, but the ending got a bit predictable.
Well, the thing is, if you've seen Life on Mars, you knew that Alex Drake, the protagonist in Ashes to Ashes, was already dead. But I liked the ending of it, where you realise that Gene Hunt was an angel. Have you not seen Ashes to Ashes?
Yeah, because they're in the last bit. They're in the police room, and all the ceiling tiles start to kind of vanish, and the sky goes.
Yeah. But then they go to the pub, don't they?
Yeah,
Going to the pub means moving on.
And that's it. Like, they go to the pub and...
But he stays behind, doesn't he?
Oh, for the next...
and then a new guy comes in, and it's obviously he's in the 90s, but he's something that he's saying or other. Yeah, I really liked it. I like Gene Hunt. He was a cool character.
He is a cool character. I used to follow his Twitter feed as well. There was Gene Hunt's mum as well, or Nan or something.
I wonder if that's still up there. That's good guy, Gene Hunt. Anyway, so that is TV news this week. Now I want to talk about films. Last week we mentioned the upcoming X-Men film, Move the Chocolates Away from Rob. And we mentioned the fact that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are not going to be in it. They've just announced that they're going to get a new actress to play Jean Grey in it, and it's going to be Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner, what's she been in?
You'll know her from Game of Thrones. She plays the Ginger Stark.
Oh, bloody hell, really?
Yeah.
Wait, the Ginger Stark?
The Ginger Stark.
She's about... Yeah, she's pretty. Very young though, isn't she?
I think she's probably older than you think she is.
I hope so. Oh shit, she was born in 1996.
Let me remember, what's her name?
That makes her 18.
I've forgotten her flaming name, and I've read the book and all.
Line.
What's her name? You got Arya Stark, and you should know this, Rob. You're obviously perv on her.
Sansa Stark.
Sansa. The one who does. I know. I spoke to some people, and they hate her as a character, but I think she does a real good job.
I think she's
surrounded by people who would potentially kill her all the time.
Mm.
So I quite like the character. So I think you're going to see a lot more from Sansa, and it's going to be cool. So she's going to be in it, and they've announced a few other people as well. But yeah, she will be playing Jean Grey in the new film. Which all of that leads me on to another film. And this isn't technically science fiction fantasy, but it's going to be Ian McKellen is going to star in a film where he is an old Sherlock Holmes, and it's set in the 1940s. And he's went over to Japan and saw Hiroshima and all that. Mm. And he's an old man. He's in his 90s. He's about 93 years old. And he's retired, living in the country. It's called A Slight Trick of... Well, it's from a book called A Slight Trick of the Mind.
Is Watson still alive?
I don't think he's in it.
Right.
Basically, it's him investigating a case, one final case, with the assistant of his housekeeper's son, Roger, who I think might be a young kid, possibly. And his mind is slightly starting to go as well. So it's this kind of last case with a race against time to crack it before his diminishing powers start to leave him. But I think it could be quite exciting with Ian McKellen in it.
Mm.
Being directed by Bill Condon, who's famous for directing the last two Twilight films. So that bodes badly for it, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, I mean, the Twilight films, so I got dragged to see them. And I didn't go under my own accord. I went under duress. But they were. As far as from a technical point of view, they were well made. It was just bloody Twilight, wasn't it?
The thing about Twilight is I think a lot of it's to do with the fans of Twilight. There's something...
Well, they're head cases.
We know that we've a few times in the past gone on about manga fans, anime fans and
being
all that.
Being a bit bananas.
Just annoying.
Yeah.
There's something about the kind of emo-y Twilight type fans. Because I know you'd see kids who are into all that stuff. I suppose they're not as annoying as anime fans.
I just don't understand why they're all like they're being so miserable and apathetic. Life is fun. You don't have to kill yourself or anything.
I think it's a lot harder being a kid now. Lots harder.
I think it is a lot harder being a kid, but it's just like this is not when my little sister was growing up. She was always bloody miserable. And it's like, why? What have you got? You've been born in the West. You got a roof over your head, you got hot food, your mum and dad give you loads of money, more than they ever gave me. And...
I've just discovered why she was always miserable.
What is that?
You bitching at her. You got more money than me.
No, I never used to
Should be happy. Live in the West, dude.
When she was at university...
I got beat with a chair.
When she was at university, I used to, go visit her and take her for a weekly shop. Which cost me about 60 quid.
Your treats.
Yeah. Honestly, her weekly shop would come to about 60 quid as a student, whereas mine would come to about 25, 30. So
Inflation,
these kids have had it so good.
Yeah. I bet you, every week you turn up and buy... Well, what was she buying then? She might have been buying actual, decent, proper food, whereas you just bought sausage rolls.
Pretty much.
As was your boast that you could finish a pack of 6 sausage rolls before you could cross Sainsbury's car park.
This is true.
You
I
should
did
see-
it. I did it.
That was the guy.
That's him!
Oh my god.
The sausage roll guy.
I
stuff
see
of
you though. I
legend.
did it though, didn't I? I did it
Why are you proud of it?
because it's just a feat.
Just
isn't
you
it?
kind of
It's just
That's
something.
badge of
walking
honour.
back.
It's like being able to eat 6 sausage rolls in the time it takes to walk across Sainsbury's car park. That's like one of my things. As is.
On your bucket list.
On your gravestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a thing that I could do that no one else could do.
It's true, you can get
Yeah.
more sausage in your mouth than many men that I know.
Some people do heroic, noble things, but yours is stuffing your mouth with sausage rolls across the car
with
park.
pastry.
Six sausage rolls.
Yes.
So everyone has a calling in life.
They do. And you, my boy, have found yours.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to talk about is, I've titled it Bog Off George Lucas. Obviously with the new Star Wars film coming out, people have been speaking to George Lucas because he at the moment is pushing this animated film called Strange Magic.
Is he involved in the new Star Wars films?
Well, he wrote a proposed idea for it
Right.
and gave it to them. Obviously, Disney bought it and they said, okay then George, we'll look at your version, and then they ignored it. They said, this is not the script we're looking for. So he doesn't know anything about it. All he knows is that they are not following his one, which I think is a massive good sign, surely. Because it's going to be pants if they go along with his one, innit?
The thing is, I used to remember back at university. I used to upset a few people because I didn't.
Did you really?
I was never
You were spitting pastry everywhere, weren't you?
because I was never like a massive raving. I like Star Wars, but not in a fanatical sense. Like I could criticise Star Wars, and to criticise Star Wars was kind of akin to like urinating on, I don't know, the steps of St. Paul's or
It's
something.
blasphemy.
Oh yeah, it was just shocking. Like, people didn't like it. But I just thought Star Wars was always a little bit hammy, a little bit. Okay, you're looking at me funny now.
How dare you come on this
Sacrilege.
podcast?
But you do know what I mean? I think at the time,
Hammy.
visually, it probably blew everything out of the water. It was stunning. It was amazing. But as far as stories go, it's just.
Oh, it's so generic, the story, in as much as that you've got all your typical character types. The plot line of the boy who goes off Western in space. That's what it's always described as.
Yeah.
The bad guy dresses all in black.
Yeah.
The good guys are from this kind of
And they're in white.
the stormtroopers are white as well. You've got to remember that as well.
That's true.
But their faces are hidden.
Yeah.
They look quite scary. The bad dudes have got all the technology. The good guys kind of come from this kind of natural place, spiritual versus technological. So there's a lot in it. You've got. I don't know if any of the listeners are familiar with Vladimir Prop and his character types. Famous folklorist, Russian folklorist, who noticed that all stories will feature a certain set of character types, but they're all pretty much met in there, in as much as you've got the donor who gives Luke, the hero, the lightsaber. You've got the dispatcher, who is Princess Leia, who her little hollow message sends him off on the mission. So yeah, but it's a good
It
film.
kind of follows the hero's journey as well. I suppose everything does to some degree.
Yeah, they do say there's only like 7 or 8 different kind of
Mm.
films, storylines, not films, but storylines. Yeah, but it's good. Just with something follows something doesn't make it bad. I enjoy it. The thing about Star Wars is that when people think about the Phantom Menace and everyone and there is a lot wrong with the Phantom Menace. No one's
like
gonna
the racial stereotypes or.
yeah. The Jar Jar Binks, what a massive race, and the fact that all the bad guys are clearly Japanese. But, Emperor! It's like, oh my word.
What, this Jar Jar Binks is like Jamaican or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing it had going against it, other than the fact that it was slightly racist and a terrible kind of kiddie film, is that when you consider any new Star Wars film, you are not thinking about The New Hope,
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, Return of the Muppets. What you're actually thinking about is all 3 versus that one film. The
Yes.
whole plot line through them. And so it's very difficult for a single film to match up because it gets slammed with that. The good thing for J.J. Abrams with his new film is that he only has to be better than the old films.
Which he will be, because he's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it's going to be lens flares and it's going to be cool. So you're going to say something, Rob? I continued my Star Wars rant considerably then.
What, before the Star Wars thing, or why you didn't like Star Wars, or how far back are we going?
I don't know, every so often when I was speaking I looked over and you were taking a breath and preparing to launch in.
I wasn't going to say anything, no, I've just got a pain in my stomach, so I was gasping really.
You look like you're on the cusp of something great.
It was just wind.
It was just wind.
In the end.
Sorry.
No, so that...
About to pass.
Oh, good Lord, do not.
That was the dog.
That was, yeah. So yeah, that's my film news this week, and what I want to talk about now is some of the upcoming conventions. Oh yes. There is one that I was going to speak about this month, but I'm saving it for next month because it's in the middle of this February coming up. But I'm so excited about who the guests are that I was almost tempted. So I won't say it. I'll say it next week when we do the show. But we've got some kick-ass ones. Now, I already did in previous shows. We did most of February already for different conventions with that. Animanga Pop and True Believers and all that. That's all in February. But this is one called Science of the Time Lords at the National Space Centre in Leicester. And this is the 31st of January to February the 1st. And this sounds
like I want to go.
friggin' cool.
You just mentioned the Science of the Time Lords. Before you even told me what it's about, I want to go.
What would you do if you went along there and you turned up and there's just a man in the room and it's all bollocks? Can I have £15 off you, please? What it's going to be is, this is their blurb, step out from behind the sofa as we look at the science behind Doctor Who. It's bollocks. We'll be looking at time travel, teleportation, regeneration, robots, space travel, and providing you with all the information you'll need to stop the next alien invasion over Cardiff on Christmas Day.
Does it have like any specific? Because my friend's 5-year-old daughter is a massive, crazy monster Doctor Who fan to the point that I actually gave her a Dalek for Christmas. So,
well, let me lay it on you what they're going to have. They're going to have. It's amazing. I would suggest I'll give you the web address for this, and if you want to look it up now, and I'll tell you some of the stuff. Because I'm bound to forget. They actually got a lot of stuff. They've got. If you go to www.spacecenter, or one word, .co.uk/special events.
Is it the proper spelling of centre or the American spelling of centre?
Proper English.
Proper, right? Okay.
UK Geek.
Spacecenter.co.uk
/special events.
Special events.
/science with a little one of those thingies.
Special.
Just go to the Space Centre and I'm sure they'll have a link from it there instead of knobbing around with all that.
Events / what was it, science?
Science of the Time Lords, but in between each of the letters they've done one of those little spaces with one of those little hovering dashy things.
Oh, right, hyphen. So it's special science -of -the -Time Lords. And if that doesn't work, special and events has a hyphen in between it.
But if you just go to the www.spacecenter.co.uk.
Yeah, lost in. Oh, it says oops. Hang on, I'll go back to
right, they're going to have Sylvester McCoy there.
Wow.
The 7th Doctor. They're going to have.
He's a cool guy. I met him once before. And.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's just a really, just decent.
Famous now as Radagast as well. The Brown from the Hobbit films.
You see, I'm not. Yeah, the Hobbit films.
He's got the bird poo on his face. Sophie Aldred, Ace, is going to be there.
Blast from the Past. When was she Ace? It'd been what?
She was the 7th Doctor as well. She was.
It would have been like 89, something like that. 80. No.
Possibly. It was a while ago, but yeah, she's going to be there, and there's going to be a few others as well. But they're going to have a console there. They're going to have loads of props. There's going to be a designer prop kind of workshop thing, and on the picture there's this little model of Tom Baker's head that someone's painting, and there's going to be this live unit kind of play thing where you can join in with some kind of mission. Because I didn't realise that there's there's that 501 Star Wars kind of stormtrooper dress up group.
Yeah.
There's a cyber group like that for Doctor Who, all dress up like Cybermen, I think, or dress up as unit agents. So there's going to be this kind of event that you can join in with where that'll be part of a unit mission.
I found a web page, took some doing. This does look cool.
There's going to be loads of cool stuff there.
This actually, I went to the 50th anniversary thing down in London, and that was good. That was cool. But this sounds, I think, a little bit better because it sounds a bit smaller, a lot smaller actually, which I think will help it in a way.
The thing is, the Space Centre is pretty cool in its own right as well. I've been there already. It's a National Space Centre at Leicester. So have a look at that. It does actually look like it's going to be really good. There's loads of cool stuff
31st.
going on.
So it's actually the end of this month, right? I think we'll go to that.
Should we all have a podcast trip there? And we could record something while we're there. Yeah.
When is it?
Coming at you live.
31st of January to February the 1st.
End of the month.
End of the month.
You up for it?
Are you doing anything?
31st of January.
31st January.
Mattress delivery.
Oh.
What delivery?
We're having a mattress delivered.
Oh.
So you've got to stay in for a mattress.
To the 1st? What day's the 1st of February?
You've already got that.
We need a new mattress.
That's going to be over a weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
What is it?
Well, listen to the podcast. We just spoke about it a minute ago, if you were listening. Signs of the Time Lords. But the other thing I want to talk about is, this is on the 6th to the 8th of February. This is the SF Ball 21. This is, if you want to find this out, it's at www.sfbevents, all one word, .com/SF Ball, whatever. And this is a 3-day social experience where you can hang around with geeks and stars, and they do a ton of stuff as well. That's at the Grand Harbour Hotel, Southampton. But I've looked at some of the pictures of who they've had at it, and they've had Kate Mulgrew, who most famous for playing Janeway in Voyager. Also, she played Kate Columbo in a very short-run female Columbo TV series that they did in America. Never got over it. Pretending to be either his wife or some relation to him.
All right. But
they've had some big names if you go and look at it, and they're going to have. Again, if you want, do you want to try looking that up, Rob? The sfbevents.com. It's the SF Ball. So you can find something on that one. There's going to be loads of cool people going to that as well. So it seems like it's going to be quite fun.
Our next sci-fi convention, SF Ball 21.
And that's
6th to 8th Feb, yeah. Southampton.
So tell us who some of the people are going to be there. Share it.
At the thing, hang on, I'll just click on this link here.
There's going to be some. There'll be some people.
So you've got Sylvester McCoy, who, as we know, is in The Hobbit and Doctor Who. Robert Duncan Smith. Robert Duncan McNeil, who was from
he was from Voyager as well. He said he played Tom Paris.
James Cosmo from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we've seen James Cosmo. We saw him at Wales Comic Con.
Sophie Aldred from Doctor Who.
Which
one does James Cosmo play?
James Cosmo played the head of the Night's Watch.
Oh right, okay.
And then he was dying.
Jamie Anderson.
He was also in Braveheart as well. James Cosmo.
What was he in Braveheart?
He always plays a big, tough kind of, but he's slightly older kind of warrior dude. I'm sure James Cosmo's in
Does he have a
Braveheart.
beard?
Yeah, there's quite a few beards in that film,
Was
wasn't
it
there?
that Hamish guy?
Is that the? I can't remember the name, but you'll know, as soon as you see his face, you'll know.
Yeah. I think I know.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. James Cosmo is.
Oh, the Scottish guy with the very gruff kind of.
Yeah, in Braveheart, the Scottish guy.
No, he's got like.
Would you Adam and Eve it?
Yeah, he's built like a tank, isn't he?
Because in that film, it's all Scottish guys. There's the Irish guy, and then there's the American Jew hater as well.
Some sort of religious war, wasn't there?
He's not American, he's Australian.
Oh, sorry, Australian. Well, no, he's actually classed as American.
When that happens?
He's a US citizen now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was either born in America and went to Australia, or the other way around.
How does he still get work? Because he is just.
He doesn't get
He doesn't
much.
get any work.
He was in Expendables 3, wasn't he?
But he's just a vile human being.
Apparently, you know what, I've heard.
He used to be on such a crest of a wave, and then he went mad on that DUI thing, didn't he?
I think I've heard people actually say that, you know what, he actually is. Apart from his kind of drunken rages and being an anti-Semite and all that, they've said that he actually is quite a nice guy.
How can you be a nice guy and an anti-Semite? Surely
I think drugs and drink might have had a lot to do with those opinions. Also, it is possible to be a douchebag and then
Wasn't those phone records where he's ringing up his like ex or something, and he's quite abusive.
yeah, I'm not saying he's nice all the time, but I've heard.
But I read somewhere that he and his dad were part of some like Catholic society that went round slagging off, other religions and other faiths and stuff.
But still, I've heard from it. There's a blog, and it's a Hollywood Insider. Everyone thinks might be Robert Downey Jr. And he says, other than despite what you hear, Mel Gibson is supposedly meant to be an actual nice guy, other than the fact that he threatened his wife, hates Jewish people, and gets raging drunk and then abuses lots of folks. Other than that, lovely guy.
Flawless.
He is.
So, Saltfield is going to be there. We've done, haven't we? Jamie Anderson, we've done him as well. No, we haven't. He was... Alright, it says it's the younger son of producer Joey Anderson. So his dad did Thunderbird's Fireball XL.
Fireball XL.
Space
90.
1999. Yeah.
Oh, Space 1999. Such a
some-
great theme tune, such a boring show.
Some fella called Manu Intiriami.
Was he in Voyager?
Yeah, he was.
He played one of the kids, the Borg kids in it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me, geek points for me there.
Julian Seeger, who he was in Doctor Who, Thor, and had like bit parts and lots of voices for video games. And then we got Professor Elemental.
You never seen Professor Elemental?
Professor Elemental will be presenting the cabaret for the steampunk.
He's a steampunk rap type guy. If you go on to YouTube and you can look him up, and he had a jokey fallout with what's his name? The guy who does Chap Hop. If you go in there,
Chap
basically
Hop.
it's Fighting Trousers. Go on to YouTube and look up Fighting. Don't watch it now because it's a song. It's almost like he's kind of battle rap towards the gentleman rhymer. His name is, and it's quite funny. Go and look at that, listeners. Professor Elemental is this dude. Is obviously he was a DJ or some kind of musician at some point, and then he kind of got into steampunk, and he makes steampunk type music. But he's also done a comic book. If you go to any of the steampunk events, like the one that we have a big one in Lincoln, he was at one of them. In fact, do you remember when we saw him doing that biscuit dunking duel, where they all dunk biscuits and then they have to hold it up, and if your biscuit breaks off, you lose it. You lose the duel. Yeah, he's quite a funny guy.
Were they Bourbon creams?
They weren't. Were they digestives or malt? They might have been malted milks.
You see, malted milk is not a good dunker. In my experience, if you're going to go into dunking war, you've got to use something like a Bourbon cream or.
Well, they both
robust.
use the
More
same.
robust.
They both use the same. There's no arms race, Rob. It's just a case of you both have the same biscuit.
Same biscuit.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's quite an interesting guy. But yeah, look that up. It's called Fighting Trousers, Professor Elemental. He's a funny guy. He's going to be there. Right. So that looks like there's going to be tons of people there. And you go there for a few days and they have all kinds of quizzes and stuff like that. So if you're into your geek and you want to be around famous folk, that sounds like a good place. I'm not all that keen. I'm never all that keen on meeting people that I've seen in TV shows because I like the characters.
Yeah,
but I'm not a big fan.
Well, the thing is, the characters and the people are completely. The actors aren't the same as the characters.
Really?
Well, no. You're
telling me Dick Van Dyke is not a chimney sweep who can jump into paintings?
No, you get to see these people that go to these conventions. They expect the actors to be just like their heroes, whatever. And the reality is they're not. Like, who was it? A friend of mine took his son to see Captain Jack Harkness, John Barryman.
Yes.
And got stiffed for like 25 quid for an autograph, and said that he was just like. Yeah, it was just really disappointing. He said because he wasn't anything like Captain Jack. But what did he expect? Because he's not going to be like Captain Jack, is he?
No. Well, a lot of these conventions that do that, they have the charge to go up. And I remember years ago hearing that Ray Park, who played Darth Maul, the actor, not the voice. The voice was done by Peter Serafinowicz, who was recently in Guardians of the Galaxy, incidentally. But he was charged like 15 quid. This was years ago when I was a little kid. after the Phantom Menace had just come out, and everyone was like, "Oh, how does he dare do it?" Everyone's doing it now. I would not pay money. I always remember when I was with my girlfriend, and we went to, this was at Wales Comic Con, and they had all the Game of Thrones people there, and we were walking along, and you know the character Bronn, who's played by Jerome Flynn. And she said to me, she went, "Can we go?" Because she's a big fan of the character in Game of Thrones. And the people at home have not heard this, so it's new to them, so don't sigh loudly. She said to me, "Oh, look, there's the guy from Game of Thrones, Robson and Jerome's. Can we go up to him? I want to ask Robson and Jerome's for his autograph." And I said, "Please don't call him Robson and Jerome's. You do know the two different people." Just kept referring. Should I just go over? Just say hello to him. "Oh, he won't mind." It's like, he will go apeshit if you call him Robson and Jerome.
I knew that wasn't his name. Lie a little bit on the story.
No, that's true. It's completely true. Right, I want to talk about the last event. This is quite a small one. This is called Picocon. And this is an annual science fiction and fantasy convention run by the Imperial College Science Fiction and Fantasy Society. So, and if you look at their guest list, it's people you probably don't know unless you read, really hardcore science fiction stuff. But it's going to be on the 14th to the 15th of February. It's a small con, reasonable prices, students and fans. It's near London, and it's just a small scale con. They're going to have a guest of honour doing talks and panels. Any dodgy merchandise, they're going to destroy them with liquid nitrogen, and then a massive hammer. There's going to be stalls, quizzes, silly games, and a student union bar. So it's just like a small. It's been running for absolutely years, though. That one is. This is Picocon 32. So it's been going for
32 years.
Well, even longer, because of some years they didn't do it. So it's been going for an awfully long time. But that sounds like quite a fun one if you wanted to go along to that. And I'm trying to find the address for that one. I think if you just look up Picocon 32, you probably find that. But that looks like it could be a nice little one if you don't like crowds of people. Which leads me on to Comic of the Week. Well, this is Webcomic of the Week. Again, I like to always pick a UK webcomic. And the one I've chosen this one is Mystery Incorporated UK, which is, if you look up Mystery Incorporated UK, imagine if someone decided to do a version of Scooby-Doo without the dog, set in the UK with a bunch of cynical UK kids who are arses. That's what it's like. It reminds me very much of when I used to go to comic book conventions of the old style independent comic books, in that it's not flashy, visuals. The illustrations are okay, but the writing is really funny. The jokes they make at the very beginning of the story, they actually have the writer of the story appear, and he picks the team and explains to them who they're going to be. And there's lots of kind of knowing jokes about itself and about stuff like Scooby-Doo. About they turn up at some place and the butler lets them in, and straight from the get-go they're saying, "Well, he did it, didn't he? Clearly." And at the end of the first little story arc, they had Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets there saying how shit it was, the first episode. And then they wait a bit, and then they talk about the fact that it frequently infringes copyright. It just as them there looking at each other. So it's a really funny kind of webcomic, that is.
The thing is, it's Hanna-Barbera, isn't it? Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Usually. Because there's that Adult Swim thing, isn't there, which regularly pulls in Hanna-Barbera characters. Now I don't know if they own, or the studio that owns Hanna-Barbera also owns Adult Swim, and that's how they're able to get away with it. But
there's a lot of different characters. I don't know how they would get away. I think maybe because they use the toys and the way they play around with them, maybe it's clear that it's parody.
Yeah, it's clearly parodies. That's probably how they get away with it, or without being sued. Or maybe they just don't care because Hanna-Barbera characters, they're not being made anymore, are they? Really?
I don't think so. Talking about Hanna-Barbera, I was talking about those conventions, that SF Con, the one which was going to be the one that's over SF Ball, sorry. They have a theme every year, and this year it's going to be Stone Age, so it's going to be almost like Flintstone style.
Stuff.
So I imagine that's what the party would be like. So I wanted to throw that in there, just reminding me about it. But it's really good fun. The characters aren't exactly like the characters in Scooby-Doo. They're like an English equivalence to it. But yeah, it's a good laugh, and I would certainly suggest anyone looks for that. So that's Mystery Incorporated UK. Have you managed to find it on your...
No, I can't. I've had a good look round through, but there's naff all that's come up yet.
You know what, I'm going to have to find the address for it, aren't I? But I need to do it without...
Oh, well, there's mi-uk.smackjeeves.com.
That's it, yeah.
Smackjeeves.com.
Read that out again just to be clear to the
Mystery
folks.
Comics UK isn't the prettiest comic on the web. It isn't the best written either. It might just be the most British though. Like most of the best ideas of mankind's history, MI UK was thought up at the pub. The concept sprang from the fact that the pesky kids of Scooby-Doo didn't act like teenagers at all. No swearing, no drinking, no talking about sex. MI UK reimagines the Mystery Incorporated concept with sceptical English kids who do all of the above and no talking dog. MI UK is written by Jacob, who's a student, and drawn by Robin, who isn't. Yeah, there we are. So that's mi-uk.smackjeeves.com.
Good find there. In the first proper story, they have a house that's infested with Mr. Blobbies. There's a bit, and they mention a joke at the start, and then at the end, then a bit later on, they just open this door into the basement, and it's just full of these Mr. Blobbies having sex with each other.
And Noel Edmonds watching.
Well, Noel Edmonds isn't in it, but it's very good. Have a look at it. There's something very much of the feeling of old style indie comic books about it, and I liked it. It's just a hoot, the fact that anything can happen, and they don't mind kind of messing around with the storyline, and the fact that the characters will make fun of the generic conventions that you expect to find in the storyline. And the art does improve as you go along as well when you look at it. Yeah, it's good.
I'm looking at the latest one now. Yeah, it is good. It is good.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's quite good. But definitely, it is very funny. There's a few bits where I chuckled out loud, and I never do that normally at comic books. I find them amusing. Don't often laugh out loud. So we've had an email from friend of the show, Dan Butcher, from Vanguard Comic, just chatting about the fact that he mentioned us on Vanguard Comic. So have a look there if you want to see what it's good. And hopefully we might get him on the show. I've spoke to him already, and he's interested in, I don't know if he'd Skype us or whatever, but answering some of our questions. And maybe have some questions of his own for you, Raoul, about
sausage rolls.
About sausage rolls, your frequent battles with hemorrhoids, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I've stopped eating the sausage rolls, and the hemorrhoids...
You had them snipped?
Well, they're getting better. With the exercise as well. With all the, diet and, the fitness regime.
Well, we'll find out again next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll ask you your fitness tips. That can be a new feature. And your arse berries.
Just eat less and do more. And sleep and drink water.
We've already done your tips. Save some of these for next week.
Yeah, but it's not rocket
You can't
science.
have drink water every time.
But there aren't many tips really. It's just that, isn't it? As simple as that.
Yeah, but give us something else that helps
the hole,
as well.
The hole in your mouth is bigger than the hole in your ass.
Oh,
Well, it's true.
Well, not in your case after your horrific years and piles. Yes, so find a tip. Well, what I want is an exercise that you are doing that week. That's what I want you to tell us about. Your exercise of the week that's helping you turn yourself into this man machine.
Just Google for HIIT training. HIIT.
The viewers want to hear you talk. Well, the listeners want to hear you talk about it.
Well,
They want to hear it from the Bish himself.
You just jump around a bit until you throw up.
Just tell them a feckin' exercise, you dick. That's all they want to know.
An exercise?
Not now, we've already heard. You told us about drinking water, but it's just one of the exercises that you are doing to trim yourself down back into your ideal weight.
Canoeing machine, a 17-stone canoeing machine.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Anyway, so that's I think that's enough for this show. So check out if you want to check out my blog, it's thunderchild with an e at the end.blogspot.co.uk. I think it balls it up. Yeah, it is. No, sorry, it's not. It's thunderchild with an e at the end.blogspot.com, or you can email the show at empireofgeek.co. I forgot my own address now. You can email the show at empiregreek. You can email the show at empireofgeek@hotmail.com, or you can check us out on Twitter at empiregeek. and tweet me things about stuff and ask me about Rob. So that's enough from us then. Ralph. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
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 It's alive! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.